Hi, welcome to the Best of Mount Shasta. I'm Andree Morgana, and I'm the producer of this show. And the purpose of the show is to showcase the local spiritual community of the Mount Shasta area in the fields of native healing, spirit and spirituality, self-discovery, alternative health and wellness, and our environment, Nature Speaks. And there's so many amazing stories and amazing experiences, amazing explorations, amazing knowledge that is being uncovered in this area, that people coming to visit the area really never meet the local people. And as everybody has a story, I too wanted to share a little bit about my story today very quickly. I grew up in Berkeley, California during the 50s when it was very middle-class Berkeley, and I was part of the onslaught of the hippie movement. And my husband during that time found a lecture on the Transcendental Meditation program, and so we went to that lecture, and a week later we were starting meditation, and our lives just changed 360 degrees. And in 1969, we went off to India and became teachers of the Transcendental Meditation program. So at that time, we were learning about the Eastern Vedic culture that was starting to come to the United States and became a phenomena during that period of time. We went back to Cambridge to start teaching Transcendental Meditation. 800 people a month were starting. I think I was about, 24 at the time, and I instructed the head of Harvard Medical School. It was pretty amazing. When I look back on it, just this 24-year-old teaching this gentleman who had so much more vast knowledge and understanding of life, and yet the technique worked. So during that next years, we had a lot of opportunity to be with Maharishi, to be with him on his teacher training courses in Majorca and in Italy and throughout the United States, 1-month courses, long weekend courses. So we really got to be exposed to the Vedic tradition about what is consciousness, what is pure consciousness, what is pure awareness, what is being, what is that unmanifest field of the absolute from which everything comes forward. It was new knowledge back then. I didn't even know what the word consciousness meant. I remember in one of my first meditations, I was going, what are they talking about? What is consciousness? And then one time I had this experience. There was a thought, and then I realized there was a gap between that thought and the next thought. And then I said, aha, that's what they're talking about. It's within me, it's quiet, it's silent. So from that time on, I really just couldn't get enough of the understanding of consciousness, the development of consciousness leading to enlightenment. We instructed each of us over 1,000 people. It was really an amazing time, but we really grew in that development of awareness, that culture. Most people started meditation for the benefits of it, and there were certainly lots and lots of benefits. All kinds of meditations were popping up all over the country. People knew the word consciousness, they knew the word meditation, and here we are today. People don't feel it's so strange anymore. I was with that organization for 25 years, and the last part of it, Maharishi sent the TM teachers off to Switzerland where we could stay in hotels on the off season, and we could meditate 8 to 10 hours a day. He would come to the different hotels, check on our experiences, give advanced techniques. And the courses were 6 months long. I stayed there for 2 years, meditating 8 to 10 hours a day. So I have a little puppy with me. If you can hear him barking, there's somebody new coming into the studio. But what it was it was such a normal, natural process for me at that point. I didn't think of it as being unusual anymore, to be able to hold awareness in front of me and to be able to see the unboundedness of the environment spontaneously without trying to see how the tree is unbounded, how the sky is unbounded, how people are unbounded. I could just see that automatically after those 25 years. And I came back to Berkeley to be with my mother for the last 2 years of her life. which I was very glad to have done. And I realized the people around me, just the normal everyday people of the city, weren't experiencing what I was experiencing. So even though it was something so abstract, yet to me, it was a reality. And I lived with that and enjoyed definitely the experience of it. Somebody gave me a card to the UC Berkeley Library, and I read every single book they had that was on the Vedic literature that was in English, because I didn't speak Sanskrit. But then somebody introduced me to a group out of Brazil. And this was still while I was living with my mother for the, just after she had passed away for the last 2 years of her life. And so I went to check it out. It was up in Sebastopol, and they were teaching people to be mediums. Now, in that situation, I entered into an environment of drums, a lot of noise, and singing. And yet, at a certain point, something happened with one particular song they were singing, and all the people that were in the room that were mediums incorporated their spirit beings that they were working with, and the whole room was filled with light. And that was a phenomena I had never discovered, I'd never explored. What is that they could see into the spirit realms outside our earth and be able to connect with cosmic souls who could come through them and give a greater insight for the person in front of them, because their awareness was more unbounded than our awareness. They could see things that we couldn't see. So I really kind of looked into that, examined it. I became a medium, and I began to see what they were talking about. And when I came back to Marin, where I was living at the time, people would come to the two cosmic souls that I was working with, Hiawatha and Vovo Anomalia, and have all their questions answered. But there was one lady that wanted to see into the universe and connect with souls out in the universe. So Hiawatha took her out into the universe, like you're seeing in this background here, and showed her within our galactic system how she could meet up with cosmic souls that exist within our system. So long story short, then he started to develop a meditation that could show people how to walk through the forest, like you saw, be grounded, be able to see the things in the forest that were aware of them. Whereas maybe they had walked through a forest before and just saw the beauty of the forest, but never realized that the tree had consciousness also. It had awareness of the person walking through the forest. So he introduced that idea that certainly not new. A lot of people have that understanding, but that was the beginning of his meditation. And then he took people outside, showed them how to become lighter and lighter and lighter and go outside and be able to see the earth in a distance. And then he prepared their bodies, which by that time were transparent. So they were pretty much already in a different reality from when they were just sitting in the chair beginning the meditation. And then he showed them how to expand their awareness at that point larger than the galaxy so they could see into the universe. Now, what's really interesting, I follow the consciousness movement. I keep up abreast on, everything that's going on. I want to know the latest. But nobody's talking about what I'm going to talk about next. Everybody is saying you are the universe. This is the big aha moment. You're made of the components of the universe. See how unbounded the universe is. So in that way, the person understands the unboundedness of awareness. But what Hiawatha does is he expands the awareness while the person is within the universe in the meditation, and keeps expanding the awareness, expanding the awareness, expanding the awareness, expanding the awareness, breathing into that moment. The awareness is expanding, the awareness continues to expand, and all of a sudden the person finds themselves outside the universe, looking back at the universe. So then they realize at that moment, oh, I'm not the universe. I'm broader than the universe. My awareness my own awareness, when I start to see the expansiveness of it, is actually larger than the universe itself. And then what he does is, here's the person having the experience of their awareness being unbounded. So it's something they're looking at. So then he shows them how to get back to that original source from where all life is created. A universe is created from the original source. Humans are created from the original source. Anything and everything you can think of has its origin in that absolute unmanifest field of awareness, pure being. And so he takes them back to that moment where they lose the distance between themselves and what they're observing about the unboundedness of their awareness. And they see that their reality is that same unboundedness that is the beginning of life itself. And then he shows them in the meditation how it was they first became aware of their awareness. And that's the single moment where their journey began. Now that might be billions and zillions and who knows how long it is ago for each person. And then he shows them, that's the purpose of the meditation, is to bring them out to experience their origin as their own story. And then to experience how they became aware of awareness, and that was their first moment of being a presence separate from the source from where all life is created. So it's a really profound experience. And then he, shows them around out there and how they began to know all of these things and, all that goes on out there. This universe being created, that being created, there's the infinity of time. Where were you, at this point? Where were you at that point? Where were you at that point? And then some moment you chose to, you were drawn to a particular universe. And so he shows you how to re-enter that universe, but your awareness is larger than the universe, so you have to know how to make it smaller than the environment of the universe itself. And that's how the universe itself was created. And there you are in the universe, and you're unbounded, and you're not outside the universe anymore. You've entered an environment. And so he helps you to identify where was that first moment when you came into this universe. And then he develops it even more so that, through the, how long were you in the universe? Do you see this star system? Do you see that civilization? Did you see those planets? Or were you drawn immediately to a particular galaxy? And he shows you, how was it? You came to that galaxy, and as you came to the galaxy, again, your awareness, your presence was larger than the galaxy. So you had to do something different to enter into the galaxy to be able to be within that environment, confines of that galaxy. So he shows you how to do all of that, how you did all of that, and helps you to remember that. And then as you enter into the galaxy, there's at some point where you see the earth, or you were there when the earth was going to be created. People have all kinds of different experiences during this meditation. And so that's the purpose of it. What is your story through the eternity of time? How did you get to the earth? So then he brings you, showing you, just like now, you're looking at the picture of the earth and your awareness is larger than the earth itself. But how is it you can enter into that environment? So many people entered to the earth before there were even human beings. So he helps to identify that. And then those that entered as human beings, did they enter before there was the necessity to have a mother and a father and become a child and be born that way? So people start to remember those moments, their reality. I have a puppy with me. He's only 6 months old, but he's just slipped out. Oh my God, he's just slipped out of his collar. I've had 2 leashes in the last week that he's chewed through, and I haven't yet received one of those metal leashes, those metal leashes. So if I'm bending over, that's because I'm trying to see what this character is up to. He has a bone that I gave him, but oh my gosh. Anyway, so here we are back on the earth again. And that's basically what I wanted to tell you about today, is that's what I've discovered since I came up to Mount Shasta in 2008. When I was a medium down in Marin, Hiawatha, and Vovoanamaya, they were taking care of people's daily lives. But then when I came up here, Hiawatha started to develop this meditation that in hindsight, I don't think he could have developed it in the busyness of the metropolitan area, the quietness and the magnetism of the mountain and the purpose that the mountain has up here for helping people to explore new realities. It's a living consciousness. And so many people that come up here and maybe even never had an experience of meditation or any spirituality like that, everybody feels the silence. Everybody feels the quietness. Everybody feels the profoundness of the mountain. That's its living consciousness. And further and deeper in exploration, you can see into that consciousness. You can explore into it. For me, and through being connected with Hiawatha, I could take this meditation beyond the earth, beyond the galaxy, beyond the universe, and then back to original source. So there's so much going on up here. It's a remarkable, remarkable place. And that's why I am a producer of the Best of Mount Shasta. And so I have a conference coming up. I used to do them at the city park and at the Mount Shasta Resort, but with the COVID and life is sort of changing for everyone, this is going to be an online Zoom meeting, probably at the end of this year or the beginning of next year. And this time it's not going to be people that represent those different areas, just anybody who's up here who has developed some understanding of new knowledge and new exploration or enlivening different cultural traditions. But it's going to be the elders of Mount Shasta, celebrating the wisdom of the elders of the Mount Shasta area. And it's just amazing. The requirement is you have to be over 70 years old. And the first two people I interviewed were one of them was, I think, 83. She's been up here about 30 plus years, and just in this environment, developing her own story, her own awakening, her own knowingness that's much greater than it was from where she came before she came to Mount Shasta. So it's a remarkable place. There's amazing things going on up here. And I encourage you to start looking at the videos that have already been done. I usually do a couple of them every month. And then there will be this one conference that will be just having that particular group of people that already, just by their years, have wisdom, as is natural with human life. But there's just a little angle to it that this person has seen into it this way, this person has seen into the spiritual that way. The stories are all different, all different. And a lot of it's new knowledge, like I feel I've stumbled upon new knowledge that is not yet talked about in the consciousness movement. The most in the consciousness movement is you are the universe. The universe is within you. You are within the universe. But the reality, as I see it now, is that we all came from that unmanifest pure field of the absolute that some call God, some call it the Creator. All kinds of names, all the world traditions have different ways to access it. And this is the way that it just happened for me to access it. And I think it's profound. I offer online meditations now. It's a month-long course. It has Hiawatha giving the meditation and a lot of reflection and discovery and writing of experiences during that period of time, and then another meditation. So that's all available, and I'm really excited about this Elders Conference. If you are interested in it, you want to help out, we need sponsors, we need money to, do all the things you need to do when you produce an event, mainly the marketing and the advertising. I think this is going to be a great opportunity because a lot of people wanted to come to the Best of Mount Shasta each year, but there's the cost, there's the travel, there's the obligation to leave behind things you need to do with family and work and so on. And this way they can just watch it in their own home. I often say that there's only one good advantage to COVID, and that is so many people now know about Zoom and know about online viewing. So thank you so much for listening to this today, and I hope to hear from you, and I hope you will check out the Elders Conference at the end of the year when we have it available. Thank you so much for being here today, and all the best to you with your life and your experiences. Thank you.